So little things that we do, all right? Standing in front of a crowd, we cross our arms, we just do something. What do we do with my arms? This is kind of weird, it's awkward. I don't have pockets in these pants of mine. Oh, you do, awesome.
Good.
That's great.
I probably wouldn't do that.
But I probably wouldn't do that. Great, you're doing awesome. So in this position, great, just to teach. Which way do you want to do it?
This way.
I like that, that's awesome. It matters, right? Okay, so this allows her to be able to hold her position easier. Right, which we talked about, which is just a little bit further back. Take a breath in, and she will have a tendency, can I touch you? To breathe right here. Inhale towards my hands. And she's like, of course, inhale towards your hands. That's what I do. Inhale towards my hands. And it's harder. It just doesn't go as easy. It takes more effort. And she has to kind of like manipulate her body a little bit. So these things right here, or whatever, like subtle things we do, will just allow us to be there easier. I'm not saying she can't cross her arms. Does that make sense? Okay, so she's going to fit into a pattern to allow it to happen easier. So, can you lie on your back for me, please? Mm-hmm. If she's in this position, can you see how it's more expansive on the front here? If her arms are in her pocket, can you see that that's more expansive? It's more ER, and she probably wouldn't do it. Perhaps this helps hold her up. Speculating. Make sense? Okay. So, where you position feet in terms of bent knees when they're in these hook-lying positions does make a difference, okay? So just for today's purposes, I only put them on there because I really want to have, actually I'll do it differently actually, because I really want to have them right about there. But now she's hanging off the end of the mat. So we make adaptations based upon what we do, and we don't even think about it. I had a client I was working online with yesterday, and she was doing some push-ups, and she's like, oh, my shoulder's a little sore. I'm like, do me a favor, take your hands off the mat, because you shouldn't be on the mat. She's like, oh, that's better, because she was fitting her hands to the mat. That's not the space she should be in. So sometimes it's simple things. Can you slide down a little bit? Mm-hmm. A little more.
So my feet are on the
Yeah, thank you so much. Appreciate it. Great. Because that typically feels more natural, typically for people, to be out there-ish somewhere. And then her quads will be active. Okay? Not a workout, but they're working. Yeah. This just doesn't feel quite as natural to go there on their own.
More quad.
More quad, like a stretch.
I feel like it's more work for me to hold my legs in this position.
Okay. So let me show you this then. So this is where I teach. She said more quad, but then she said it feels like it's more work to hold my legs in this position. I love that answer. When I feel her quads now, they're soft. When I feel her quads now, they're firmer. Do you feel that difference?
It's less effort.
It's less effort.
Yeah.
Correct. So when she's here more, Michael, what the hell are you trying to teach me? What are you trying to say? Quads pull pelvises forward. Okay? More leg bend allows the pelvis to rotate back easier, so she'll be flatter on the ground. It's more work for her because she's used to using her quads more. And so it's actually kind of taking her quads away from being active. She may feel them more, but it's more in kind of like a lengthened state. It's more eccentrically positioned than the other one where it was more taut and active, where it was holding her up.
It actually feels like more lateral effort in this closer position.
I'll take that. Okay. Does it feel like your back flattens a little bit more when you're there?
I didn't notice.
It's okay, no problem. So in this position, what I'm going to have you do is, so she said she feels more lateral. Sorry about that. Sorry, Brian.
So are you deciding to keep her in a position where they feel more weird, or no, for the
100%, almost always.
Go for the weird.
I tell people if it feels right, it's probably wrong, okay? Because put your legs in the air.
Like what way?
Yeah, just like that, kick them around, awesome. And then put your legs wherever you want to.
That's what
That's great. That's perfect.
I'm going for ease.
That's perfect. I'm going for ease. Perfect. Out, wide, turned in. Okay? I mean, I'm just following suit. So this feels really odd to have to keep them. It feels like kind of work. I don't even know what's like lateral muscle. Like I don't even know what to use because I'm just not used to being here. If I have to have her hold a ball or something like that between her legs, she's never talking to me again.
Don't give me something to joke.
Awesome. That'd be great. Okay. Give me a gentle squeeze. Great. So as I said, just give me a gentle squeeze. Just feeling adductor, internal rotation muscles, just getting her to a place where she's actually using stuff instead of leveraging stuff. Can you appreciate the difference? Awesome. Reach both arms in the air towards the ceiling. Great. And then do me a favor, reach just a little bit more. Great. Do you see the way her rib cage just changed its position a little bit? Great. So what I'm going to have you do now is just inhale through your nose, slow, smooth, and easy. Exhale a whole bunch of air. Not forceful, just take your time and just exhale more air than you normally would. And then just pause for a second. Good. Just maintain an easy reach through your arms as you inhale again. Great. And then exhale again. And this time as you exhale, just lift your tailbone a teeny bit. Plenty. Awesome.
When I exhale or?
Yeah, while you exhale. Yep.
Okay.
Great. Awesome. And now keep that up and do about 3 more breaths, just like that. I gave her 1 breath before I even lifted the tailbone because it'd be an effort. So just kind of do 1 or 2 before I even actually have them lift just a little bit, particularly when I'm first going through it with people. So what she's going to get now is she's going to get a little more of a balanced shape because of the reach and getting her out of this position. The arms are allowing a little better capability of the abdominals to aid in exhalation because of the reach. Remember triangles? Can you see how that's going to have a tendency to activate those lower muscles? Because if I can create an act to do it versus telling someone to tighten something, it's going to be way more successful. Okay?
You remember maintaining that tilt
I do. Thank you for
the
asking.
entire time?
Yep. Yep. Because I haven't measured things. I'm just kind of going through this. Because she likes being here, this needs to counter-nutate and go back. So we're bringing it all back. When you've done about 5 breaths, you can relax. Okay? Good question. And I said, just a little. And I put my hands there because sometimes they say scoop. You try to say all the right stuff, and they're like, what? What do you mean? What do you mean? They're like doing all this weird stuff down there. You guys know what I'm talking about. It's kind of weird. So I just kind of give them a little. I'm like, plenty. I stop them. Because I don't want to have them think like, oh, 2. Okay? Great. Put your legs up in the air, dance around a little bit. Great. And then don't go back to your big default, but put your legs back down on the ground for me, please. And so she put them back where I wanted them. Okay? She just figured out a new place to put them. It probably doesn't feel quite as weird. Okay? Thank you. So she gained better posterior rotation, gained better flexion capability. If I measured stuff before and after, it'd probably be a little bit better in terms of like hip flexion and these movements right here, which we're all going to do, all right? By just doing 1 set of about 5 or 6 breaths. Again, for the sake of time, I'm not going to go through the nuances of looking at rights and lefts and what your all individual needs are. I'm just kind of giving you something that's a pretty safe activity for pretty much anybody you work with, okay? Questions on that? Do you have questions on that?
I've got a nice little stitch in my thoracic.
Okay, that doesn't surprise me. Okay, so do me a favor, get on your hands and knees, please.
Is the stitch because of a weird position?
Yeah,
The body considers to be weird?
Yeah, so right here-ish is a transition point. It's right at the diaphragmatic region. Her bias of her hinge is right there. So she's not all the way there yet. That hasn't turned enough. And you can go ahead and do that for me. Please do that for me. And you see that's the rounding that I showed you in the video as well too, and the flatness there, okay? So stay right there. Right there, no, a little less, right there, awesome. Give me a gentle squeeze. Okay, tuck your toes a little bit, awesome. Gently, easy, tuck this. Great, awesome, stay right there for me, please. Take an easy breath in, and then exhale a whole bunch of air, and maintain this exact shape, and just bring your body forward just a little bit more. Stay right there for me, please. So all I'm doing is making her vertical. She'll feel a big change, no, I take that back. There will be a big change in how much muscle activity happened just moving her that half an inch, believe it or not. And I didn't cue her to push hard here. I cued her to tuck more here. Because that's what's flat. That's why. It's not rocket science. And then here's what I'm gonna have you do. You can take about 3 more breaths and try to inhale right towards my hand as best as you can. Great, do that a couple more times for me. Each exhale, just make sure you're keeping that little tuck. Awesome, great, right there, awesome. Good, do you feel just a little bit towards my hand?
Do
I feel like a little expansion, a little,
Yes.
perfect, great. Put my hand there so she knows when versus saying low back, right? Just give her a cue. And again, I don't know rules and what you're comfortable with your clients, but if you work one-on-one with people, I think that's pretty okay, as long as you get their verbal permission for stuff, okay? And then usually after about the 4th breath, 5th breath or so, they're kind of like, oh yeah, that's actually starting to open up a little bit. And what they'll feel as a general rule is that they'll be like, oh yeah, my abs are working. Holy cow, my shoulders are working. Like all these things are working hard because we're taking that canister that wanted to be here and putting it into a different position, so muscles are absolutely going to turn on more. And it should feel almost like a more powerful breath, not quite as easy, yada, 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 all that kind of stuff. Lying your back again for me, please. Does that feel okay?
Yep, absolutely.
Great, thanks. Do a little dance again. Great, and then put your feet down. And how's your stitch?
It's good, it's now centralized.
Good. Why good? Because that's bringing to light the vertebral body that is the primary issue, that is her problem. So here's the sucky part about these types of things. I have to leave her hanging now so I can keep all of you entertained. So when we do the mobility stuff in just about 20 minutes, it's going to be specific to her, okay? But I can't do that right now because I want to kind of keep everybody with what we're going to be doing. Are you okay with that? Is it okay, thank you so much. Appreciate it.
It's not new, it just is pronounced.
Pronounced, okay, great. But and kind of went from here.
From here to here, you know,
Okay.
it's kind of started here, and then when we did the activities, it went out,
Yep.
and now
Now it's
it came
back
out.
in. Okay, great, awesome. Not great, but thank you for sharing. All right, so same type of thing we did before, groups of 2 or 3. Here's what you're gonna do. I wanna have everybody just do the ones on your back. Just lie on their back, arms in the air. You can look first at their breathing strategy, then lying on their back. 1 down, 1 up. 1 down, 1 up. That's to say alternate, not doing both at the same time. What happens on one side versus the other side. And then same thing, 1 knee towards the chest. They can either do it by themselves or they can just do it actively on their own. Compare side to side, okay? And then we'll go through this activity that you just did on their back. You want to do it with the feet on the wall? Go for it. I might have done that with her to begin with if I saw her as a client. But I just wanted to kind of walk you through the 5 breath strategy first. Feel free to try the hook lying or the feet on the wall one, okay? And then we're going to go through a couple other things.